The Ascension is one of the principal feasts of the Church. Throughout history, it was seen as essential. So why do we keep forgetting it? Hi, I'm Drew, and this is Faith 15. You'd be forgiven for not knowing anything about the Ascension. Outside of church nerds, who look for any reason to have another church service, most of us have forgotten all about the Ascension. A big reason is that it doesn't rise to the level of its closest siblings, Good Friday and Easter. The vast performative majority of Christian faith boils the Jesus event down to the crucifixion and resurrection. The sum total of what accounts for God's great transformation of the world gets boiled down to a weekend. Each year going into Holy Week, I ask our church to give 1 week out of the year to God. It's a small ask, really, but most people then boil it down even further. Friday and Sunday, death and resurrection. That's it. Many of us find this pattern, found in ancient writings and creedal formulations, all the way to modern worship movements, gives short shrift to the 30 years of Jesus' life, or the 3 years of active ministry. Even the very words he said. Everything boiled down to death and resurrection. That just seems like weak tea. However, the Ascension doesn't seem like a significant erasure, at least not on the surface. In the Ascension, we celebrate Jesus' ascending into heaven, most prominently captured in Luke and Acts. And to make things worse, it's kind of a weird story. Jesus kind of floats up into the sky or something. Have you ever watched a balloon go up? How long did the disciples wait for him to disappear? In literal terms, the Ascension is a strange story. But for the wider story, it served an essential purpose. Now, this might sound crass to say, but they had to get Jesus out of the way. He died, and then God brought him back. But the thing is, God can't have him stay either. It wouldn't work. Have you ever noticed the vast majority of Disney characters are orphans? They have to get the parents out of the way so that they can go on their epic journey alone. So often there's some tragic death. Either their ship is lost at sea or they're shot by hunters. The reason Disney uses this literary device is that they want the main character to explore what happens in the world without the crutch of mom and dad to save them. Beyond the practical sense of explaining why nobody met a 70-year-old Jesus, it provides the disciples with the incentive they need. You don't get to rely on Jesus doing the work for you. You need to take the lead. And this is 100% on point with what Jesus teaches the disciples in Luke. He takes on these random strangers as students and puts them in a variety of situations for learning. Right? He uses didactic methods, observation, and experiential learning. I mean, his favorite tools are storytelling and action learning. Most importantly, when they are still learning the ropes, he sends them out into the world without him. He tells them to teach and heal, to do all of the things that he does. And when they come back, they reflect on what they experienced. It's a student teaching practicum in the second semester of school. Then he sends out the whole lot of them to do the same. Jesus teaches his followers not through rote memorization, but through experience. And he isn't simply teaching them how to be good people or the best people they can be. He's teaching them to be him, so they can be him, so they won't need him, so they can teach others to be him too. As a principal feast, Ascension Day is held in the same regard as Easter, Epiphany, Pentecost, All Saints, Christmas, and Trinity Sunday. The Ascension is always listed in the liturgies and Eucharistic prayers of the Church, right? Jesus died, was raised, and ascended into heaven. It makes for a strange feast day because it comes to us after 40 days of marveling at the resurrection, proclaiming Christ is alive, that we would have a feast day not about Jesus in the flesh, but about the Christ incarnate in us. That Jesus is going away, and yet Jesus remains. This is a major twist in orientation that we rarely take seriously. And if we don't put this in its monumental place, we have no hope of getting into Pentecost and all those tongues of fire. Keep the love, and I'll see you next time.